Welcome to Issues and Answers with me, Jacques Hinkson-Compton. The St. Lucia Postal Service is launching its new postal code system throughout the island. With me is Mr. Josiah Charles, Postmaster General. Hello, Mr. Charles.
Hello, Jacques.
Welcome to Issues and Answers.
Thank you for having me here, Jacques, today.
No problem. So there's so much to discuss. There's so much to talk about, so much potential for the local postal service and St. Lucia. Let's first off by telling us what exactly is a postal code.
Okay, Jacques, a postal code is an identifier for a postal delivery point, i.e., it is an identifier as to where we would deliver, or the St. Lucia Postal Service or any postal service would deliver a mail item.
So what is a delivery point exactly?
Well, in our context, a delivery point in the St. Lucian context would either be a post office, a private letterbox, or a residential or business address.
And when is this new system going to take effect?
The new postal code took effect and it was officially launched on the 1st of December. So we have started 1st of December 2015. So we're just about a month into the process.
So people have already started to receive notifications of this new system?
We have through the media, print, television, radio, and also through the post offices, the Gazette, the private letter boxes. We have been advising persons of the code, in some cases informing them of what their specific code would be.
And what is the objective, the ultimate objective of the new system, the new postal code system?
The ultimate objective of the postal code system is mainly to meet international standards, one, to improve efficiencies at the postal service. The other side of it would be, one of the things that we considered strongly was proper addressing. And that was what we identified for a while now have been lacking in St. Lucia. Now, in any developing country, and particularly what is advocated by the World Bank, the European Union, and even the International Monetary Fund, have been the issue of proper addressing. And most of all, also the Universal Postal Union, which is the body, the UN body responsible for the regulation of the postal sector, the international postal sector. All of these agencies have been pushing for proper addressing.
So when you say proper addressing, do you mean street names and house numbers? Yes, alternately, that would be what it is. But in the postal context, and one of the things going forward I would want to just highlight is that there's a difference between a postal address and a physical address. The postal service is responsible for postal address. The postal address would be where you receive your mail. So in the context of that, one would say, if you were Jacques Compton, and you are Jacques Compton from Sanssouci, and we have another Jacques Compton from Leclerc. But both of these Jacques Compton received their mail at the General Post Office. What is important is to be able to identify the Jacques Compton of Sanssouci and the Jacques Compton of Leclerc. And that is what we speak about proper addressing. Right? So we may have just seen in the past, and we have been seeing Jacques Compton, care of General Post Office. That is not a proper address. Right? So it would be Jacques Compton in our context would be Jacques Compton, Sanssouci, General Post Office, Castries. So it minimizes wrong mail going to wrong people and such. Yes. What we have had, particularly with the utility companies, we saw the case where we had 2 or 3, let's say Jacques Compton mail getting into one post office. Now, you would understand the issue of bills, the confidentiality of bills, who have paid their bills and who have arrears on the bill, and the bills ending up in the wrong hand.
And this is one of the things that we were trying desperately to see how we could resolve. And that we are hoping also would resolve these issues.
Now, you said there's a difference between a physical address and a postal address. What does this mean for, let's say, someone like me who has a postal address at the main post office on Bridge Street, but I live in Rodney Heights?
Okay. For all intent and purpose, your postal address would be Bridge Street. You would have to use the Bridge Street address. So in that case, it would be Hinkson-Compton, General Post Office, Bridge Street, Castries, LC 04101, St. Lucia. That would have been your postal address.
So my postal code would be for Bridge Street.
For Bridge Street.
Okay, so now you mentioned LC and you mentioned some other numbers. That's an alphanumeric system. Could you briefly explain the alphanumeric code system?
Okay. You have two sets of codes being utilized internationally. You may have all numeric numbers, or you may have alphanumeric, which is letters and and figures. In the case of St. Lucia, we have adopted the alphanumeric one. It was easier for us to go that way since LC was the ISO code for St. Lucia internationally. So whether it is the airlines, the shipping agents, or whatever other company using codes, country codes, identifying country codes, they would have used LC. LC is unique to St. Lucia. What we have done in this process is to adopt this, continue with the same LC. So we went on with LC, which is the country code. Then in determining that, in going further with the code, the code was broken down also in a division or an administrative division, or in some cases it's called districts or county, etc. In our case, we have postal administrative divisions. So some of the two figures would represent that, and it can go up to 99. Right? Presently, we have 54. But we can go up to 99. Sorry, we have 18. Sorry, and the other two figures would the other figure would represent the delivery point, where the post office or the standalone cluster boxes. The standalone cluster boxes would be, the examples I could use would be the Mega J boxes, where the boxes that are lined out outside of Mega J. We have them at Baywalk. We have at the Viewfort Plaza and other places. These would be standalone boxes, but they would be a delivery point. The other two sets of digits would represent the community or the area served. And you noted that I spoke about Sanssouci Castries. Now, in that case, we would use, if we are going in that way, we would have used the Sanssouci code, the code for Sanssouci, but placing Castries within it. While the system allows us to go in that direction, we have not gone in that granular direction. So we have introduced the code in two phases, right? Phase 1 and phase 2. In the case of phase 1, we have stuck to mainly delivery points. And for all intent and purpose, now we have 54 delivery points island-wide. Right? So we have stuck to that. Phase 2 would move into the granular one, where we speak about giving a code to Sanssouci, giving a code to all areas in Leclerc, if need be, giving a code to every street in Castries or every named street. We have gone with that. The limitation that we have with that is that while we have moved with some of the officially known streets and communities, we know that there are equally more that are not officially named.
Let me just cut you off for a second. We'll do for a break. There's so much more we'll continue talking about the phase system. You're watching Issues and Answers. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
My 14-year-old child. She's driving me crazy. I just don't know what to do.
All that child need is some good licks to wake up.
Alice, ignore the counseling Pansy is giving. Government employees have free access to professional counseling services under the Employee Assistance Program known as EAP.
EAP? EAP? What's that? Not me that telling people my business.
Listen to me, Alice. I was struggling with my child. I made an appointment to see an EAP counselor, and I was very satisfied with the service that I received. And you know what? Up to a day like today, my information remains confidential.
Cox, how come nobody in the office knew anything about your counseling?
That's because EAP counselors, they work under strict clauses of confidentiality. I know you know what confidential means.
EAP providing professional counseling services? How much is it?
Girl, the counseling is free. Free for you, free for your child. And you know what? Your information remains confidential. Call the EAP unit at the Ministry of the Public Service. Telephone number 468-2269 for more information.
EAP works. Let it work for you.
Welcome back to Issues and Answers. I'm here with Postmaster General, Mr. Josiah Charles, and we're talking about the new postal code system. Now, before the break, you were just elaborating on the introduction of the new system in phases. Could you just continue with that?
Okay. Yeah, like Jacques, like I was saying early on, we have designed the code in 2 phases for roll-off. We have gone with phase 1, which is the one that we rolled off at the beginning of December 2015, which would only deal with our delivery points. Phase 2 would deal with the granular end of it, where we would see postcodes given, or codes given to streets, buildings, if need be, communities, individual communities, roads, etc. To date, we have set up, we have about 822 of these. We know that there are more. Because as we would hear, you would hear things like forgotten boundaries, you would hear chicken back street, and things like that. So we know, while these are not official, but we know that once we have gone with rolling off, using identifying communities or coding communities, street names, street by building names, numbers, etc. We know that we will have to deal with all of these, and we are working and we are waiting with the authorities in officially naming some of these areas, and we are hoping that at some point we will have all communities, all streets, all these home names given to certain communities. We will see them becoming officially catalogued at some point.
In all of this, ultimately, how does all of it benefit the consumer or the user of the post office box?
All of this, and we are saying all of this would help the consumer, have an address, a postal plus a physical address, because we are hoping to merge the postal address with a physical address. That's what phase 2 is supposed to do. So every citizen in the country will have an address, right? 2, we are saying that we are able to identify through the post every citizen in the country who have received, who we have a piece of mail to deliver to. We would be in a position to identify with a great degree of accuracy, this is the person and this is where we should deliver that piece of mail.
Eventually, do you think we'll get to the point of delivering mail physically to people's homes?
We can, and we have been doing that. We have been doing that in certain communities. We are doing that in the Grosley, we are doing that in Vieux-Fort, we are doing that in Soufrière, Ancillary. There are a number of communities, and including the Castries area. The challenge for us is that once these places, you have named streets and you have some building numbers in some of these communities, it makes it easier to do that. But down the road, if we have the communities and the buildings and the streets properly named, properly demarcated, numbered, etc., yes, we can do that.
And has the new postal code system, has it been modeled on any other postal code systems in the Caribbean? For example, St. Vincent has fairly recently launched a similar sort of system. Have you modeled after St. Vincent or any other Caribbean islands, or have you been using the more developed countries as a model?
Jacques, what we have done is we have studied a number of models, and we cannot, we cannot, or any country cannot just take a model and just impose it. That is not practical. We have to do that to suit our own environmental conditions, our own developmental condition. So you would see, while St. Vincent have gone in this direction, Cayman have gone, and Barbados have gone in this direction, also Trinidad. These are the only Caribbean countries that I know of who have gone in this direction to a certain degree. We had to look from outside, and our model is a combination of different things that would suit the St. Lucian context.
Can you give me an example of any similarity in what you've implemented in St. Lucia to another country?
For example, in the Cayman Islands, Cayman Islands have gone using again the country code. The country code, which is KY. They have that is what they have used. In the case of Barbados, I think to some extent they have also used an alphanumeric code. But we are saying for us what we thought would have worked out perfectly for us, easy to remember, easy for people to work with, was the LC.
Can you speak on the success of the postcodes in other islands?
Success have been very slow. Implementation and persons embracing this have been very slow. I know in the case of St. Vincent it's less than 50%. In the case of Barbados, I think it's a little more than that. Trinidad have their own challenges with it. Cayman, these have been very slow. I think for us it's the citizens appreciating and understanding. They see it as just a postcode, but this postcode has much more potential. And I guess as we develop and as the world develop, and we may see persons rushing to embrace that.
Well, what sort of local challenges, I should say, have we faced in the implementation?
Jacques, this process has been an over 3-year process for us. The challenges for us, one, was our stage of development. We know we have a number of unplanned housing development. We have houses one over the other. We have issues, the absence of proper demarcated zones and boundaries for districts and communities. We know that we have agricultural zones, development, physical development zones, we have education zones, name it, we have health zones, and we have electoral divisions. We also have the issue of resources, financial resources to get these projects done. So we compounded by working with the Universal Postal Union, the experts in postcodes, right? Trying to get them to understand our situation at home, our conditions on the ground, and to having them to accept and to work with us with the model, with the designs that we were going with. That was also a serious challenge for us.
In terms of the divisions, how did you select the different divisions?
Working with a number of the different models that I highlighted earlier on, which would have been all the zones and the thing. What we thought would have worked better for us and easily adapted for us was the electoral division structure, where we saw clearly demarcated boundaries using the electoral map, and we saw clearly demarcated boundaries, and we saw this fitting very well with our delivery points. So we modeled over that. While there are 17 electoral divisions, we have gone with 18 postal administrative divisions. We can go up to 99. So as the country change and as things develop, as structurally things change around and things become clearer with mapping, proper mapping and proper demarcation, we can expand that to 99 postal administrative divisions.
Okay, so we are due for our final break. Stay tuned with us. I am Jacques Hinkson-Compton. This is Issues and Answers. We'll be back in a moment.
Need to get a new passport or other important civil status document and don't know how? Want to check on a payment from government? How about when to pick up your completed driver's license? Looking for information about a government service? Don't get frustrated searching for the right number. Just dial 311, a unique, easy-to-remember number for non-emergency requests. Our friendly agents are on 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday to help point you in the right direction in both English and Creole. 311 is just one of the ways to access government services. One call, total access, dial 311.
Welcome back to Issues and Answers. I'm here with Postmaster General Mr. Josiah Charles, and we're talking postal codes. Now, what I want to talk about is the postal code's role in St. Lucia's economic development. What can you tell us something about that? What can you speak on?
Jacques, the postal code a postal code in any country's economic development plays a very important role in the economic development. We particularly within the context of the digital world. The notion is that there is no role for the post because computers have taken over email, etc. One of the things we laugh about within the postal sector is to say, well, ask everybody who is ordering things on the internet to have it shipped through the internet and they receive it on the computer, right? But one of the things we have seen one is the increase in economic activities, and when we speak about economic activities, we speak about the e-commerce or the internet or the online shopping. We have seen that taking over the big malls, and when we study places like China and some of the more developed countries, we are seeing the advent of the closing down of malls because persons can sit at their home and order anything they want at any time of the night in any part of the world. One of the challenges that they have had is that in most cases, in trying to register to place an order, almost every time you are asked to fit in your postal code, or your postcode or your zip code. In most cases, persons either fake some of these on the system for St. Lucia, or in other times, the system would not allow or they would not permit the continuation of registration. That is one, so that person have lost out. The other experiences we have is that a lot of these multinational companies that one would want to trade with or to purchase things from, they will not ship directly to St. Lucia because, again, St. Lucia has no standard address, no identified postal point where they can say, we are sending things to them. So what we are seeing is that you would need now to use a middleman. So you need to order, send this item to an address either in Europe or in the US. That middleman is going to package and ship these things and send down to you. No, that's a cost. That's an additional cost to you. Right? So we would see that the postcode is going to deal with that aspect. One, it will ensure that you have access to every multinational company who would be dealing with shopping online.
So companies such as Amazon, eBay.
All of these would be shipping directly to you. In some cases, some of them ship, some don't. Right? The other aspect for that is that we are seeing that in the case of the economic development, particularly, we are saying that persons who could not afford the departmental stores or the high-end stores in St. Lucia, the persons in the rural community, these individuals now have an address. And they can order, whether it is coming to a post office or any point where there is a computer, they can place the order and their goods will get closer to them. We are seeing with I hate using the word competitors, where you have to go to their place of business to collect your item. We are saying that with our 47 post offices around the island, we can deliver your item that you have ordered online nearest to you. Right? So somebody in Font-Saint-Jacques can get the item at the Font-Saint-Jacques post office. Somebody all the way in Bourgis can collect the item that they have purchased at the Bourgis post office.
What does that mean for the shipping industry in the private sector?
Okay. The shipping, there are two things. It depends on how you look at it. One, the shipping industry can ship more directly now. They can accept things and know where they are sending it to. The other aspect is that in some cases we may bypass. Persons can now bypass the shipping agency which we consider as the middleman. So you will get cost savings. The citizen can get cost savings by bypassing the middleman. So it's twofold. It's one, allowing the shipping agency to ship more directly and accurately to you, and the other side of you making savings by things coming directly through one post office to another to you.
And do you believe that the new postal code system will facilitate, well, we spoke on it a little bit, but facilitate the ease of doing business as well as international trade? And do you think it will attract more foreign investment, as these postal codes, as you mentioned, would be internationally recognized?
It has the potential. It has the potential of doing that. Again, it's how it's used. One of the things is that we know that persons, banks, and agencies want to know that there is an address. There is an address. It's not an individual making up an address, but you have an address that is internationally recognized. And once we have gone with the postcodes, our postcodes have been internationally registered with through the Universal Postal Union. So any country, any shipping agent, any airline, any international bank business can identify an address in St. Lucia. So that makes it easier. So when somebody is taking a loan or saying, well, I'm going to do some business somewhere, they know that definitely that place exists. The problem we had prior to that was that we had mail going all over the world. So St. Lucia mail was going to Sri Lanka, you have St. Lucia in Australia, you have St. Lucie in Italy. So you had a number of these confusions going through, and therefore delaying the process, the processing of mail or the direct shipment of mail. What we are seeing is that with more automated reading of addresses on mail in the more developed countries, we will be seeing faster movement and more accurate movement of mail from one part of the world to the other.
So again, speaking on potential, do you think that the postcode system also has the potential to be used in conjunction with software such as Google Maps? So if you want to find, let's say you're looking for a particular branch of a company, and you can use Google Maps to find it utilizing the postal code system. Is there potential for that in the future?
Yes, there is potential, and that has been used everywhere around the world. We have, and I'm saying, St. Lucia Postal Service have only done their part. We need other agencies to come on board, so you would need your physical development people to come on board. You would need your electoral, your education, your tourism, your transport. You would need all other agencies to come on board. What we think we have done there is to set up the springboard. And once these software packages have set up where St. Lucia is properly, every community, everything is properly demarcated in St. Lucia, it's just a matter of imposing these codes around there. So once you have plugged in these codes, if you're looking for that, you could see exactly where you are going or where you need to go.
Now, what about the potential for industries such as tourism or even government in terms of census data collection? How does the postal code supplement that?
The postal code as it is now, which is in phase 1, would not necessarily help that. But in phase 2, yes, the potential is there, because what the phase 2 have done, like I pointed out, is to identify particular streets, communities, special communities, specific communities, etc. Phase 2 would do that. So it's a matter of once we have the platform, once the platform has been set up, then all we have to do is impose all of these codes over these communities, over these places. And we could see unlimited potential for that as being used in the more developed countries. Because we know right now if you are using a GPS device in any vehicle in more developed countries, all you need to do is just put in your zip code or your postcode, and you will be directed exactly how to get there. And that is where we see St. Lucia getting to. But we are only hoping that business, agencies, the different business, the different government agencies come on board and do their part in utilizing that platform that we have set up.
And finally, where can one get more information on the postal code?
Okay. Like I said earlier on, we have the listing of the postcodes in every post office around the island. We have on our website stluciapostal.com. You can go to the link, you will get what we are hoping to do in the near future. And again, once we have rolled off phase 2, which would accommodate that, You could be anywhere in the world and you have gone onto our website, we will have a postcode finder. So if you know the name of a community, all you need to do is plug in the community and you will get that postcode for that community or that street address, etc.
Okay. Well, I thank you very much, Mr. Charles, for joining us today on Issues and Answers. And thank you, viewers, for sticking with us. Please stay tuned to the National Television Network for more programming.